Good day, this is Lebogang Makwala, a student from Studio School of Education, which is formerly known as MB. This is a grade 12 life orientation lesson. It speaks about career and career choices. Decision making, decision, resolution to make up your mind about a choice after considering different options. Commit, to promise to do something, to work very hard to do something, to not give up. Yourself, attitudes, values, physical features, abilities, interest, and personality. Jobs and careers that may suit you. Jobs, careers, employment, entrepreneurial work, and study opportunities. Training courses for additional and higher learning and tertiary institutions. Cost of courses, application processes for jobs and courses for additional and higher learning in tertiary institute. Entrance requirements for jobs and courses for additional and higher learning and tertiary institute. It's very important when looking into doing a course to consider the cost of the course, because um, it's all nice to choose that you want to do say medicine, but if you cannot afford it and there's no bursaries around to help you relieve the cost the burden, then considering a cheaper course is more practical to do so. And then once you have entered into the job that you could afford to pay, then you could always pay for your own course that you actually do, like the application process of a job and the course for additional and higher learning in tertiary institute. I mean, applying for a job is difficult, but also choosing a tertiary institute and applying for higher learning can also be a very tedious process, and it requires a lot of research and a lot of dedication to it. Making career decisions should involve considering your attitudes, your physical features, your interests, your values, needs, skills, abilities, and personalities. Um, uh, Physical features. Are you are you competent enough to carry out the job? Your interests, are you interested in doing the job? Values and needs, are your values in alliance with the career? Skills and abilities, can you develop skills to accommodate that certain career? Personality, do you fit in there? I mean, if you're someone who does not like interacting with people and you just don't like being around people, then you can't choose a career where you have to be around people the whole day. 5-step method of making decisions. Clarify what decision you have to make. Brainstorm different alternatives. Consider the consequences of each alternative, researching for the information. Dis- dis- Decide on a course of action. Evaluate your decision. 4 main personality types. We have an extrovert who enjoy being with people. You always deal well with people, can be good leaders. Groups of people make you feel safe. You can express yourself well when in a group of people. Extroverted, you prefer being quiet. You prefer things to people. You can be competitive and confident. You don't enjoy meeting new people. Introverts can be self-reliant. You have a strong need for independence. You enjoy doing things on your own. You like making your own decisions. You like taking the initiative. Self-confident. You have a great deal of self-confidence. You have strong belief in yourself. You need only little encouragement. You handle criticism well. Application for additional or higher education. Find out as early as possible in the year before you want to study what the institute and course requires for your application. It is very important that you find out in the beginning of the year so that you can prepare yourself. Say, for instance, if the application requires that you have 60% for maths, you have to know in the beginning of the year so that you are prepared once you apply, and you're prepared to say that, okay, They wanted 60, I have 65, or I have 70, and that is above the minimum requirement. Also, financially, are you financially ready for the burden that you're about to enter? Apply as soon as possible. Um, you don't want to miss the due date for the application. Also, if you're applying online, a lot of glitches can happen. So if it's sooner rather than later, then you have the opportunity to try other means. But if it's like on the due date, then you miss out on applying for that the course. Application forms will be on the institute's website. Download the application form, read through the application form, know what they want, know what the application fee is. Depending on the course, they may want extra information. Be ready to provide extra information to. Look carefully at the entrance requirements. Selection is usually based on your last set of end of year results, but you still need your June exams because that gives you a provisional acceptance into the school. So they're considering you, but they're still waiting for your end results. So your June exams or your grade 11 exams are still as important as the end of the year because that's where they actually consider you. Most universities also require you to write the national benchmarking test. They use these results for selection. The number and type of test required depends on the course to which you wish to apply. You must write your NBTs the year before you wish to study. You need to register and book a place in advance. You should have at least 3 to 4 different future options. Most institutions charge an application fee. Applications for jobs. If you would like to work straight after school, discuss ideas with anybody who is working or volunteering. Networking. Make contacts and develop relationships with people who could be useful in helping you find a job. If you are in the habit of discussing your ambitions and ideas with people, opportunities could develop. Most people get jobs by being told about the opportunity by someone they know. That is what we call networking. Hearing from your aunt that there's a job opportunity at that company and then you go and apply for it. It is important to have an up-to-date CV ready at all times because you never know when you might need to apply for a job. First impressions are important. Your application form or CV will be the first contact your future employer or potential sponsor will have with you. So make sure it looks good. Make sure it is appealing. Make sure it is professional. Application forms. Photocopy the form first and use the photocopied from for practicing. Fill in the form very neatly. Make sure your hands are clean as well as the surface on which you are writing. Always give correct, truthful information. An application form usually has to have copies of official documents, ID, your NSC certificate, etc., attached to it. A certified copy of a document is a photocopy of the original which has been stamped by a commissioner of oath. Strategies to achieve goals. Goals must be SMART. S standing for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. To achieve your goals, you have to be absolutely clear about what you want to achieve in life. Make sure that your goals are in line with your values. Write down your goals and read them every day. Work towards achieving your goals. To achieve goals, you have to be disciplined and focused. You must be able to separate what is going to lead you to your goals and what is going to distract you from your goals. Motivate yourself by sharing your goals with important and trustworthy. Different ways to achieve funding for university. Bursary. If you have good marks or don't have money to pay for your studies, then you might as well consider applying for a bursary. Scholarships from a company or a business or municipality if you did well at school. Student loan from a bank or edu loan, which you will have to pay back once you get a job. A learnership you earn while you learn, which is mostly offered by companies. Unemployment. Unemployment means being without a job. Unemployment can lead to poverty. Poverty can lead to social problems like hunger, illness, crime, violence, drug and alcohol abuse, and depression. Your best chance of employment is if you achieve an NSC with a degree pass and obtain some tertiary or additional education. It takes effort and willpower to motivate oneself to improve one's situation and start a self-help group, business, find temporary or informal employment, or start a good garden. It's already a tough world to get a job. So imagine just how tough it is to be unemployed and not have a matric certificate or tertiary education. If people with tertiary education and a matric certificate are struggling, what more the person who does not have these qualifications? Reasons for unemployment: a mismatch between skills and job opportunity, corruption, me giving a job to my niece over the person who's qualified to do the job. Difficult for first time entrance to enter labor market. Distance from workplace to home is long. Recession, lack of education and skills, lack of entrepreneurship opportunities, lack of job search skills, um, mechan- mechanization and computers reduce the number of people needed for jobs. Overpopulation, poverty, and powerlessness means that people have few opportunities to become employed. Impact of unemployment. The impact of unemployment is damaging and causes great harm and despair. With no work, there is no income or money. Without money, people cannot provide for their families, for themselves, and for the people who are dependent on them. Unemployment affects the unemployed personally and socially. Unemployment also affects the employed, community, and country. This can lead to family conflict, divorce, and abuse. The unemployed do not pay tax, thus, there is less for the government to spend on education, hospital, etc. Cycle of unemployment. Can't find work, unemployment. Can't afford rent, they live on streets. Can't afford food, people go hungry and they get sick. No money for transport to look for a job, then you miss job opportunities. No money to pay internet fees to check for online jobs, which means you lose job opportunities. No money to buy smart clothes for a job interview, then they think you're not need, not knowing that, but you did not have money. Those are the only clothes that you have. Problems at home. Family puts pressure to get a job or to get out, which forces people to get into crime, prostitution, and such things because there is so much problems at home that the family puts pressure for you to get a job or they're chasing you out. So you feel pressured to to conforming to negative things. Maybe forced to accept any kind of work below minimum wage or below qualifications, ability, and not keep a job. The longer unemployment, the higher the risk of substance abuse, feeling hopeless, anger, depression, lonely, and lose confidence, may give up or stop looking for a job because they feel demoralized. They feel like the situation is never going to improve, become discouraged and unemployable, feel depressed, will do anything for money, will beg, borrow, or even steal to survive. With a criminal record, more difficult to find employment. Innovative solutions to counteract unemployment. If you are unemployed, you could volunteer, help others, but this could be very difficult if if you have to take a taxi or you have to take a bus or train to the volunteer center because already you're unemployed, meaning you don't have money. So having to spend money on transport to volunteer can be very difficult. So it is best to find a place nearby where you can volunteer. Maybe you could get to eat from there, or maybe you could get to market yourself there and find a job. Work in your community, do something to benefit your community and grow your community. Work part-time. Only work part-time of the day or week can gain a lot of experience, so that can essentially grow you and groom you into getting a proper job. Work informally, short-term jobs. Work entrepreneurially, see a need and provide a service or goods that people need. If people need tomatoes down the street, then work to sell the tomatoes and give the people the tomatoes that they need. Then they can pay you. The impact of corruption and fraud on individual, company, and community and country. Corruption, dishonesty, misuse of public power and money for private benefits. Fraud means to swindle, scam, cheat, or deceive. Cronyism, favoritism shown to friends regardless of their qualification. Bribery, paying for illegal favor. Stealing public resources, taking what belongs to all for yourself. Favoritism, giving special treatment or favors to those who do not deserve them. Nepotism, the appointment of family or friends to positions or of authority regardless of their qualification. Impact of corruption on individual affects the poor individual the most. It increases basic services. It makes poor people feel powerless and cheated. People lose hope because unfair advantages are given to those who can pay. Impact of corruption on companies. It leads people to not trust officials who take bribes from them. People in the company start to mistrust one another. The company gets a bad name. Also, then if there's corruption in the company, that means the person who was best suited for the job was not hired. So this will affect the company as well, because they hired someone who's incompetent and who can't do the job effectively. So this will have a direct impact on the impact of corruption on communities. People believe that the only way to access services, jobs, opportunities is through bribery. People will start thinking that corruption is a normal way to get what you want. People will start distrusting each other. The impact of corruption on the country. Service delivery will not be at its best. Unemployment will keep increasing. Donors and investors will not put their money in the country anymore. Thank you so much for listening to my lesson.